It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of February 5th, 1999. We only got 4 movies to look at today. 2 films that were mostly successful, not even successful movies. They were the more notable films, I should say. But we have 2 other films on here as well, so 4 films overall. We can get through this pretty quickly, so let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is Mel Gibson in Payback. So Mel Gibson stars as Porter, who is bad, but his neighbors are worse. Streetwise and tough, he's an ex-Marine. He's betrayed by one of his one-time partner, shot in the back of the head by his junkie wife. He survives and returns, looking to recover his share from the robbery of an Asian crime gang. The money passed into the hands of the Outfit, a slick gangster organization that runs the city. He has to make his way through a world populated by heroin dealers, prostitutes, sadomasochists, gunmen, crooked cops, you name it. A place where torture is a way of life. His only friend is a former employee, a prostitute, and her loyalty is in question given she now works for the Outfit. He makes good early progress, but then falls into the hands of Fairfax, the crime boss. And Mel Gibson, of course, like I said, plays the character there. Maria Bello is also in here, Deborah Kara Unger, David Paymer, Lucy Liu in one of her early film roles. This is directed by Brian Helgeland, who mostly was known for writing the script for LA Confidential, which was a fantastic film. This film is based off of a book called The Hunter by Donald E. Westlake under the pseudonym Richard Stark, which had been adapted into a film by John Borman, Point Blank, with William Marvin. It actually had 2 different versions put out. This one, and then 2006, there was a director's cut that differs substantially from the film released by the studio. The alternate version was seen as a highly more successful version than this particular film. And I tend to agree with them. I saw the original version of it, and it just really wasn't that intriguing to me. Like, it was a film that was just kind of boring. Like, yeah, it's cool to see Mel Gibson as a badass, but at the same time, there's not really a whole lot there in terms of the story or the creativity of it. At least with the director's cut, you could definitely tell that there's something interesting and unique they add to this, and you could definitely tell this was a film that was heavily influenced. Heavily had a lot of studio interference. They didn't know how to sell the film. Even though the film did pretty well. I mean, it made over $160 million off of a budget of about $90 million. So it did make its money back overall. But if you're going to watch this version, definitely look for the director's cut version, not the original theatrical version. The original theatrical version isn't all that great, but the director's cut is surprisingly enjoyable. I would say definitely check that one out. But anyway, that is Payback. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie. Sarah Michelle Gellar in Simply Irresistible. This is a weird movie. You have Sean Patrick Flannery as a department store executive who tries to resist falling in love with a young woman played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, who he believes he has possessed magic powers after inheriting a restaurant. That is the actual plot of this movie, and Sarah Michelle Gellar thought this would be the first movie to come after her success on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This had to be the one, and needless to say, Simply Irresistible simply is not. It's a film that is just so weird on so many different levels. It doesn't know if it wants to be straightforward. It doesn't know if it wants to be a musical. It doesn't even know. It has no idea what it actually wants to be when it's all said and done. It's a film that's just so all over the place, makes no sense whatsoever. And, I mean, I guess Gellar and Flannery are trying their best they can here, but even the little bit of chemistry that they have here can't really take away from the bizarre ridiculousness of this movie. It's a generic romantic comedy, except it's trying to do something a little bit more high quality. Like, what's the word I'm trying to use here? It's trying to be something different than it actually is. And you can see that they're taking a lot of inspirations from stuff like the Fred Astaire movies of the day, The Belle of New York, Shall We Dance, Swing Time, and the movie does not do a good job of selling it to you at first in those trailers. And when you actually see the film, it doesn't really do that either. It's just kind of like, I don't know what they were trying to accomplish with this film. It crashed and burned, and let's just say Sarah Michelle Gellar's next movie as an actress would be a much more better received film. But this one simply is not. Simply Irresistible, it's not. So, anyway, on to the next film, the documentary The Last Days. Executive produced by Steven Spielberg. This is a documentary about the story of the 5 Hungarian Jews during the Holocaust, also known as the Shoah, focusing on the last year of World War II, when Nazi Germany occupied Hungary and began mass deportations of Jews in the country to concentration and extermination camps, primarily Auschwitz. Depicts the horrors of life in the camps, but also stresses the optimism and the perseverance of the survivors. And not surprising, this comes from Steven Spielberg after his Academy Award-winning Best Picture Schindler's List came out 6 years prior to this. Of course, Schindler's List was a classic film. It's one of those films that is really one of those films that's great, but man, the subject matter is really hard to watch. And this documentary, I've never seen it before, so I don't really know if it's any good, but I'm assuming it's pretty good because it was an Academy Award winner for Best Documentary Feature. It's tackling the issues that Steven Spielberg finds closest to his heart because, of course, he did Schindler's List, and it's an engaging. It sounds like an engaging story, having these stories of these people that are the last survivors of this, telling their story about what happened, and it sounds like an intriguing film. It's one that I have not seen, like I said, but it's one that definitely has my interest. So maybe one day I'll definitely check it out because I like Schindler's List, and it'd be interesting to see what they do, to see what else they're about to talk about in this, But like I said, I haven't seen it, so I can't really say if it's any good or not, but I'm assuming it's going to be pretty good. So, on to the last film, that is Dry Cleaning. So you have the story about a nice, hardworking couple who've been married for 15 years. They operate a dry cleaning business that keeps them both too busy to take a vacation or change their routine. And a fateful trip to a drag club leads them to encounter this brother and sister drag queen performing team. Their shows fascinate the couple, and they both find themselves growing more and more attached to one of them, Loic. Loic brings them to the surface of all these suppressed desires and emotions, willingly and unwillingly. It's a psychological examination into the effects one attractive young man's entrance into the lives of an ordinarily seeming couple could have. And that's really all I know about this movie. I've never seen it before, and never had any real interest of knowing to see it. I didn't even know it even existed before I even looked it up. But quick one on that one. That's all I can pretty much tell you about this one because I don't have any other information about it. I don't even know who this director is. It comes from France and Spain, so that's really all I know about it, honestly. So that is Dry Cleaning. With that said, that's another edition of Time About the Movies in the Books. Next time we meet, we'll have 3 movies to look at, including Kevin Costner and Robin Wright Penn and Message in a Bottle, Disney's My Favorite Martian with Jeff Daniels and Christopher Lloyd, and Brendan Fraser and Alicia Silverstone in Blast from the Past. Those are the only 3 films that I see on here, so we'll take a look at those on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I am off. I will see you next time for the next video, and until then, as always, take care.